answering more questions from you guys. These are all from Instagram. We need to get to the ones on YouTube. You asked so many. What you do if you need to master a track but dynamic is still very low? Any magic tricks, Geer? There's a lot you can do when you get a mix that is kind of flat and, you know, has been flattened out or it lacks of dynamic. I can't really think of Geer, like analog Geer for something like that, although it will come to me in a second. But before going into the tricks, the reasons because you can have a mix that has a low dynamic, you receive a master that has a low dynamic, is because either has been limited or clipped already, or because the mix engineer did what I call a producer mix, right? Set and forget. No faders was moved in that mix, no EQ automation, no width automation, no top end, low end, saturation, nothing, no automation, just flat. You know, EDM and electronic music mixes very often are like that. Just set the levels and forget. And they all leave everything to the arrangement and sounds coming and going. That's a producer mix. That's not a mix engineer mix. You know, an assistant can do that. You know, set levels and forget. And so the mix is going to be flat. So the first scenario, if you get something that is limited and clipped already, I always ask, and it happened recently to me, I always ask, like, dude, I'm sorry, like, whatever, if you have, like, it's obvious you have clipping or limiting because it's chopped off. So you keep everything that you have on your two bus, just remove that. If that's not possible, because that's not possible, definitely Spiff by Oak Sound. It's an amazing spectral, I want to say, transient designer that can enhance the perceived punchiness of a track, or stems even better. The other one is by Newfangled Audio. I don't remember the name. Is a multi-band transient designer, which is great. And again, a little goes a long way. Ozone makes some crazy good restoring tools. For example, master rebalance, low end focus, the spectral, the harsher. These are amazing modules by Isotope that they can be used to bring up dynamics and more, or re-inject life into mixes that are like not ideal. Dr. MS, of course. Dr. MS, if you have any type of problem with stereo image, that has not much to do with dynamics, but with Dr. MS, the plugin version, you can automate, and even just changes in stereo width, or which doesn't necessarily mean only widen it, but also narrowing it. And also Dr. MS has the focus module, has the deep module. It's a whole bunch of things you can do that will re-inject dynamic. I don't see dynamic just as transients. I see dynamic as macro dynamics and movement in a track. That's why I made the example of the flat faders not moving mix, right? In mastering, when you have a flat mix, is going to be a lot of automation, of course, and you kind of have to do what the mix engineer didn't do in mixing, so you can reduce the low end a little bit, or wait for your low end boost for the verse, for the chorus or the hook or the big part, and leave it, you know, as is for the other section of the song. Same for top end. You can automate the top end to give the mix a little more movement and a little more emotion. But as far as dynamic intended as in transient, the first two transient designers that I mentioned is definitely what you need. And then of course compression can also re-inject dynamic, because a lot of people sees compression, especially in mastering, with like the fast attack, the kind of limiting, right? First of all, it's wrong to me to try to use a compressor to do the job of a limiter, right? That's why limiters are there. So if your job is controlling peaks in the most transparent way and reducing nominal level, the limiter is your tool. You want to change the envelope of something, that's the compressor. You want color, you bring the compressor. Compressor can definitely enhance attack, right? Slow attack, you tailor your sidechain so the compressor reacts kind of equally to the biggest transients, so kick and snare probably. If you need to do some extended sidechain EQing to get the compressor to trigger in that way, you can do that. Pro NB is also another great plugin, because you can set the trigger band free and independent from the frequency that you want to boost. So you can, for example, a trick that I showed in my mixing courses, you can trigger, let's say 3K, 4K, so the top end of a kick, but you trigger it by using the low end of a kick. So this is your sidechain input, so every time the kick hits, it will boost the 4K or 3K or whatever is that you want your kick click. That's a way to enhance the kick click, even if you don't have access to the kick. But yeah, these would be the first top of my head that I can think of. And I did it in a couple of mastering courses that are, you know, on the channel, but these would be the first that I can think of. I hope this answered the question. If you guys have questions for the Q&A, leave them in the comments down below. Please consider using the super thanks and support the channel. Click the join button, become a member if you want to access the exclusive content. Many new mixing and mastering courses are coming your way. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.
Hands on my neck, hands grip my throat. Lift me up, man, take control. Heart is so gone, my type. Don't you know I fall for the bad type? You play the role of an angel pretty well, but I can